hear you, we can see you, but you can see us 30 seconds late, and internet and all that. Never done this before, it's all quite confusing. So I'm hoping it sounds okay, because I really can't tell from here, because I'm not in your living room, wherever you are. If you want to make comments on the sound, please do. We've got a lot of people watching us already. Karen Wise, Marcus in Banbury, hello. James Bates, waiting for the Federals, he recognised the tune. Hello from Yorkshire. Hello to Yorkshire, Brian. And Richard, you've got your iron blue. I'm one step up from you, mate.
And Verity, hi Philip. Who else have we seen? Karen.
Yes, we're kind of
Rory, hi Rory.
Oh, Rory's in there as well, good. Right, what are we doing?
Well, welcome to our messy living room.
Yes.
It's even messier than normal.
Very much so, because we just filled it full of cake. I've lost the plot already.
Okay, you're going to sing us a song.
I'm going to sing you a song, right?
Right.
Yes, I'll keep it there, that's right, that's fine. And I'll do, yeah, that's all good. Right, my guitar's on, your fiddle's on, oh, the sound's right. Shall we just play this thing?
Calm down.
I'm not used to being the talent and the performer and the live streaming guy. Right, you're going to start this.
Am I starting this one? Okay.
Yes. What hey, you've been so cranky, oh well, hey, you've been so come ye by killy cranky, oh, and if you have been where I have been, you want to be so catty, oh, and if you ain't seen what I have seen on the breeze of killy cranky, Yeah, no. These microphones were set for my singing voice, no my talking voice.
Richard says he's missing the cajon. It's there.
You can play along. Somewhere out there in the land of internet is John, who's our normal drummer, and obviously he can't be with us because he doesn't live here. And he was going to pre-record some stuff and send us some drum tracks to play along to, but he's just moved house and hasn't unpacked his drums yet. So if you see Mary glaring at me, it's because we haven't got a drummer to hold me back, and frankly, we kind of need one.
Marcus is commenting on the number of cameras we've got and how much Mike's showing off. And
you try mixing
Yes,
cameras and
yes.
mixing sound and playing guitar, it's all going to get a bit messy. If suddenly you get a shot up my nose, it's just because I hit the wrong button.
You try being fat and having 4 cameras pointing at you.
It's only 3 cameras. Right, what's
right,
happening?
we're going to sing a nice wee song.
Oh, this one
Okay.
says that Mary's at the
So,
isn't it?
I better put the microphone in front of my face. That would help, eh? Is that better? Okay. So because it's sort of nearly Burns night, we've got a few Burns things in store, and this is a song I've been singing quietly to myself for a few years, and it's one of my favourite Burns ones, and it's kind of a song about unrequited love, because Burns had quite a lot of girlfriends, I believe, and this one is about a girl called Nancy. And she died at 86 and wrote in her diary every single year, about December time, the last time she remembers seeing Robert Burns, and she says, 'twas the last night I saw Robert, and she wrote that every year until she died. And as Eddie Reader said, he kind of got over her a bit quicker than that. But so this kind of song's more for Nancy than for Robert Burns, so you probably recognise it as we start singing it. So I'm going to try and play my fiddle with a microphone in my face. So, whoops. A fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart wrung tears I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. Who shall say enjoyment, love and pleasure. A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart wrung tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart wrung tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee.
Well, we're international. Hello, Vicky. We've got Canadians. I don't know if we've got any other Canadians watching us. We've also got Rolly and Jess Johnson. The way to make you feel nervous, guys. We've got professionals watching. Tell you what, I'll turn my microphone on and do that again. Talk about feeling nervous. So, yeah, we've got Canadians. We've got Vicky in Canada watching us now. I think there's some other Canadians out there too. Everybody loves Mary's voice, which is normal. It's fine. Yeah, nobody ever says I've
It's
got
a bit raspy
voice.
from shouting Spider-Man all day.
And we've got Rolly and Jess Johnson watching, which is going to make me feel really nervous because we've got the professionals in the house. Anyway, it's Burns night. You can't have Burns night without haggis. And while we have a quick sip of our drinks, here's what Mary did earlier.
So, it's dinner time. I'm on my own, glass of wine. Well, on my own. Ailey's upstairs playing on her tablet. Mike's away, hence the shoddy cameramanship. I'm going to make myself some haggis for my tea. And haggis isn't something we have on a special occasion. It's something we have on our weekly shop. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to cook it. So, the haggis we get is just this tin of Grant's haggis. It's about £1.40 out of Tesco. I clean the top and the bottom with a baby wipe usually, or antibacterial spray or something, because I'm going to open it both ends, and I'll show you why in a second. I have a posh can opener, and a lot of the time people note to self, don't do this with a camera in your hand. Most people would just like dig it out of the can like this, and that's just shoddy. So what I do is I open it both ends, and I'll show you why. Now you sometimes get cans that are just tinned like this on the bottom and the top, but sometimes they're like dog food. So if you're doing that, open the bottom first and then open the top and push through from the top, and I'll show you what I mean by push through. Right, I messed this up last time. One-handed. So you need one of the lids like this, and you get a plate and you push like this and it comes out. This is really hard to do one-handed. I wonder if I can set it down like this. There we go. So you push it out like that, like a big jobby. There we go. Then you make sure you don't eat this bit because that's not very good. And then you turn it on its side like this, and you can get about 6 slices out of this. So if I just take one wee slice off it now, like that, it looks like that. Dead easy. And I figured out it's about 130 calories a slice if you're one of those people that count calories. So if I just cut these into slices like that, you'll get 6 slices out of a tin, like that. In the summer, I would suggest putting the tin in the fridge for half an hour before you do this.
And we'll come back to haggis cooking later, because you don't want too much of a good thing all in one go. In the meantime, here's another tune. By the end of the first tune of that, I'd finished sorting out the tech and was happy to play the tunes. Then we got to the last tune and I thought, oh no, it's the one in B flat. I hate the one in B flat. Oh.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, you try mixing cameras while you're playing the guitar, Ali. I'm looking forward to lockdown being over and then I can hire technicians. Right. This is one that really we need Richard not for, and I know you're out there, Richard, but
Sloshing away.
yeah, if we'd had more time and we'd been more organised, then Richard would have come on and taught you how to do the slosh, but you're just going to have to Google it really quite quickly. I'm just going to look at my sound desk and check that everything's on. We've got Mary's mic, my mic, the guitar and the fiddle. That's good. Which camera are we on?
You're
We're on
right,
camera
Marcus.
2.
B flat is the best.
And
Yeah.
that. Yeah, Gary, I think I need some kind of a MIDI foot pedal for my sound desk. The Stream Deck's doing okay for the cameras, but it's the mics on and off. I need a technician and 3 extra legs, that'll do. Right, anyway, enough wittering. Here, let's have a song. sea, far away from the dry land and its bitter memory, casting out my sweet line with abandonment and love. No ceiling bearing down on you, save the starry skies above, with light in my head and you in my Well, I wish I was the brakeman on a hurtling fever train, crashing headlong into the heartland like a cannon in the rain, with the beating of the sleepers and the burning of the coal. Countless towns flashing by me in a night that's full of soul, with light in my hair and you in my arms. It's not my night for high notes. Let's not do that again. Well, I know I will be loosened from the bonds that hold me fast, and the chains all hung around me will fall away at last. And on that fine and fateful day, I will take you in my arms. I will ride on the train, I will be the fisherman with light in my hair and you in my arms. With light in my hair and you in my arms. Light in my hair and you in my arms. With light in my hair and you in my arms. Light in my hair and you in my arms. Yeah, not my night for high notes. Never mind, I should be standing up to do that.
Not my either. I'm a bit squeaky on the ear.
Right, you sound guys out there. I saw Gary a bit earlier, Alistair's on, Rolly and Jess are on. Let us know if the mix is okay, because it's kind of hard to tell. I haven't really got any monitors here.
Richard's having a wee slosh in the living room. Clean it up.
Right, Burns. We need some Burns poems. So, who better for Burns poems than the Drinking Man's Guide to Scotland, Mr. Alistair Turnbull.
I hope you're all enjoying your Burns night, and I hope you're all enjoying the music. I also hope you've got a wee glass of something to see you through the night as well. As you can probably see from behind me here, I do like a wee glass of whisky myself. And so did Burns. Burns liked to partake of a glass of claret or whatever he could get his hands on. Sometimes a bit too much he could get his hands on, actually. And there was one time in 1789, he ended up in a place called the Brown Hill Inn, which was about 2 or 3 miles from his family farm called Ellersland. He went there on a Sunday night. He had far too much to drink, didn't even make it home, had to stay over. And he found himself on a Monday morning, sitting beside a fire in the Brown Hill Inn, nursing the hangover from hell. Now, if this was today, we might tweet about it saying, oh, hangover, too much to drink last night. Or you go on Facebook with a picture of yourself looking green, you know. But in Burns's day, you wrote to somebody, you wanted to let them know how you were feeling. So he wrote a poem, sitting in that seat by the fireside in the Brown Hill Inn, with a hangover from hell. And he wrote a poem to his mate William Stewart, and it's basically describing the hangover. The poem's called to William Stewart. It was never actually published. It was never meant to be published. It was just a wee bit of fun between him and his mate. But I've got a copy of it here, the poem to William Stewart, and it's all about a hangover. I'll tell you what the first line is because you'll get thrown by that. The first line is, "An honest bacon's ingle nuke." Now, that refers to a guy called John Bacon. John Bacon was the landlord of the Brown Hill Inn, and an ingle nuke is a fireside. So basically, he's sitting by the fireside in the Brown Hill Inn on a Monday morning with a hangover. Let's hear the poem. It's called To William Stewart. It was written in 1789, and here we go. In honest bacon's ingle nuke, here must I sit and think, sick of the world and the world's folk, and sick, damn sick o' drink. I see there is nae help, but still down I must sink, till some day, low enough I yelp, wi' worth that cursed drink. Yestereen, alas, I was sae fou, I could but yisk and wink, and now this dare, sair I rue, the weary, weary drink. Satan, I fear thy sooty claws, I hate thy brunstein stink, and I curse the luckless cause, the wicked soup o' drink. In vain I would forget my woes, and idle rhyming clink, for past redemption's damned in prose, I can do naught but drink. For you, my trusty, well-tried friend, may heaven still on you blink, and may your life flow to the end, sweet as a dry man's drink. The Hangover from Hell. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Burns night. Let's get back to the music.
Cheers, Ali. Thanks
Cheers.
for that. We've got some more from him later. Don't you worry, he'll be back. Somebody asked what that beautiful song we sang last was. Beautiful, I'll debate, but I can tell you for certain the song was Fisherman's Blues by the Waterboys. So technically a Scottish song. I think we've got everything in tonight's set list is Scottish, says he, looking at the floor, not at the camera, because that's where the set list is. I should say, if you see me looking up there, I'm reading Facebook comments. If I'm looking down there, I'm looking at the set list. If I'm looking there, I'm looking at the music. And that's, if I'm looking there, I've got something technically wrong and I'm wondering
And if
what's
we're looking
happening.
there, Ailey's got out of bed.
Yes. Right, anyway, let's have another song.
So
Mary.
this is it's 3 sets or 3 slow tunes. The first one's called Hector the Hero, and if Dad's watching, he'd probably tell me if it is J. Scott Skinner that wrote it. I can't remember, but I know there's a story behind that one. He was a general and he committed suicide because he was gay, and that kind of stuff just wouldn't happen nowadays. So J. Scott Skinner wrote a song for him, a tune for him, and the next one is The Dark Island, which is Scottish bread and butter when it comes to folk tunes, and the third one is Neil Gow's lament for the death of his second wife. So I don't know how many wives he had, but he was pretty sad about the second one, and he wrote a tune for her. So Scotland's full of artists, as well as Burns, like Scott Skinner, like Neil Gow. So you'll hear some of their tunes as well. I'll stop talking now.
And that was also the first waltz at our wedding, just so as you know. I think that I need to turn the gain up on Mary's mic for when she's talking and then compress the life out of it for when she's singing, which I'm not going to do this time, but next time I'll maybe just get a sound engineer to do that instead. Let's have another tune. Let's have another tune quickly before I start wittering more nonsense. No, let's have another drink. Another drink and then some more nonsense. Right. I need John Ashton. Where are you, mate? I need a solid drummer to stop me from running away. It's really hard.
He's just got married and bought a nice house. Where do you think he is?
He's sitting up watching us. Of course he is. He's tapping along going, Mike, you're speeding up again. Stop it. Stop it. Right, enough. Right, this is a tune. a bit of nonsense, isn't it? Oh, man. Oh, I keep getting distracted watching what you lot are all saying, which is great. What do you mean? Dance on the boxes, Kirsten. Come on. Or just get John to play them.
Boxes of drums, that's the sad thing.
I know.
Kirsten, get them unpacked.
Oh, right. Oh, Mr. Ashton, how we miss you. No, hang on. Say that all again, Maddie. Your mic was off.
What?
Yeah, I know. I turn your mic off when we're playing, because otherwise the fiddle picks it up and the sound goes horrible.
I said, those boxes that Kirsten's complaining about are full of John's drums. So, yeah, get them unpacked.
And Ali, you want to be careful how you spell that. Yes, her mic is on, but her microphone might not be.
Oh, shut up.
Right, I'm going to turn her mic off again now. And
Before I start swearing. Right.
Right, this is a tune by the Corries. And if I push it... See, just before we started, I thought camera 1's pointing to the left and camera 2's pointing to the right. I'll renumber those as 3 and 1, and then I'm now completely confused. But that one should be pointing at me. Yes, there we go. And I have to be really I have to be really careful hitting it when I'm playing. Oh, drink this, that'll sound better. Because this little wobbly stand here, it's just out of shot. If I do that, it's not just out of shot. There you go. This little wobbly stand here, that's almost just out of shot, that has all my camera controls on it, also has my pint on it. And if I hit it too hard, there's a danger of beer spillage, and then goodness knows what camera shot you get.
And if it's so expensive, our child can no longer afford clothes, and we can't afford food.
Shut up. Come now, gather now, here where the flowers grow white. As the blossom as the snow on the bend. Here now freedom's call will make a solemn vow. Down by the roses of Prince Charlie. Fight again at Bannockburn, your battle axe to wield. Fight where your grandsire on Flodden's bloody field. Fight at Culloden, the bonny prince to shield. Fight by the roses of Prince Charlie. Land, carved out a new world with blood and sweat and hand. Return now in glory and on the silver sand. Fight by the roses of Prince Charlie. Come now, gather now, here where the flowers grow white as the blossom as the snow on the bend. Here now freedom's call will make a solemn vow. Now by the roses of Prince Charlie. Jack your strength by the green fields of blankets beaten cold. Ships spray the Clyde, hey, a nation in the hold. The waters of life, some men need to make them whole. Black gold and fishes spray the seaman. As the blossom as the snow on the bend. Here now freedom's call will make a solemn vow. Now by the roses of Prince Charlie. Excellent. Right, I need to have another drink and calm my voice down. So we're going to find out what happened to that haggis Mary was cooking.
So the next thing we're going to do is get your frying pan, and it's going to be dry, and I'm just going to do one piece just now, and these pieces you can put in cling film or a bag or something and freeze them, and you can cook them from frozen. So that's quite a nice cheap way of eating haggis, and this is quite a healthy way of doing it. So I'm going to pause you while I turn the gas on. So, dry frying pan, just dry fry it and leave it. You need to, that's the secret to this. Don't move it around, because if you move it around, it will break up. And what you want to get is some of the fat making a nice crust on the bottom. I was doing the rabbit hole a few years ago, and they had a haggis van, and they had lots of different haggis dishes that we could eat, and I chose a brioche burger, which sounded disgusting, and I thought, well, I've got to try it. So it was brioche, and I think it was rocket and haggis, brie and tomato sauce, which sounds disgusting, but it really worked, and I have been doing that ever since. But today I'm going to do it with baby spinach, which is actually quite nice. So the brioche burger is kind of sweet, and then you get the kind of freshness from the spinach. You get quite a strong tang from the cheese, and you get acidity from the tomato sauce. The tomato sauce, it sounded really trashy, but actually all of these things and the haggis work really well together. So that's starting to sizzle away now. It's quite a high heat, but you don't want it to burn, so I'm going to turn it down a wee bit. You can kind of hear the fat coming out of it and frying the bottom of it. So this has had a few minutes, maybe about 3 minutes, and I'm just going to try and cook one-handed here. And you can see, if you just leave it like that, don't move it around once you've flipped it, and you can see the kind of nice crust that's got on it. You don't get that at a bun supper. And quite frankly, the blobs of stuff you get on a plate sometimes at a burn supper, it's quite off-putting, with like 3 testicles on a plate, all different colours, but this is really, really pretty. So I've got my brioche bun, and I've cut it in half with a bread knife because that's nice and tidy. So I'm going to put on some baby spinach. You put on as much of this as you like, don't put it on if it's slimy because that's gross. You can leave this bit out as well and put bacon on instead. Depends how much you love your heart. So there's some of that. And while that is cooking on that side, I'm just going to put a bit of brie on. I've cut the outside bit off because the white bit's quite disgusting. So I'm going to put that on there to melt a little bit. But it's quite soft already. I took it out of the fridge a wee while ago, so it would warm up a wee bit. And this sort of doesn't seem right, but actually works really well. So you want a bit of salt on. And you don't need butter on your roll because there's quite a lot of fat in this nonsense here. So leave it another few minutes and it'll be ready to go in the burger. Okay, it's been another few minutes, and I don't know how many because I'm on my second glass of this. Just loosen it like that and stick it on your roll, and that should wither the spinach a little bit. I'm going to turn the gas off so I don't burn the house down. And plonk that on top like that. That's pretty, isn't it? And I'll cut it in half and show you the inside. And there it is. So you've got your brioche, your spinach, haggis with nice crusty bits on it, your brie and your tomato sauce. If you're not brave enough to try that, do that with the haggis and try it with chips and beans, and it's really, really nice. So, have a go.
Excellent, excellent. Who's hungry? I'm hungry. And I'm hungry and my microphone's on. Right, okay, we're going to do another set of tunes now. First set of this is A Hae Away From My Ain, which is another Burns tune. And John Ashton, if you're still out there, this is where I really, really need you. But I'll do my best without a drummer. Did you see that glare? That meant, Mike, you need a drummer. Richard, John, anybody, just get yourself a COVID-proof suit and come and play percussion for us, please. Yes, can we have a drummer in a full hazard suit? I don't care what you have to wear, just come and play drums.
So, for those of you who don't know, I learned to play the fiddle from my dad at the age of 5, I think. And I asked him to play a tune for us for our New Year gig that we didn't manage to do because of COVID and all that nonsense. So I said to him, well, we're going to do one for Burns Night. Would you play something? So he recorded his favourite song, the Lass of Bon Accord, which is a J. Scott Skinner song. And J. Scott Skinner was known as the Strathspey king, and probably comparable to like Robbie Williams or something of the time, because he would do like backflips on the stage and things. So this tune is actually written on his gravestone, actually transcribed on the bottom of his gravestone. And Bon Accord turns out is the nickname for Aberdeen. I didn't know that until today. It means good agreement in French.
And that'll be why the shopping centre in Aberdeen is called the Bon Accord Centre.
Yeah.
Yay! I never knew that. Hands up, who didn't know that? I want to see, but hands up.
Every
anyway.
day is a school day. So the Bonnie Lass referred to in this tune is a girl called Williamina Bell, and Skinner met her at a party in 1884. So I don't think they'd be sort of that kind of techno music. It was Scottish country dance band style. So after the story goes, after one of his country dance classes in North Silver Street Hall, which is now Milnes Auctioneers. I've got my notes written down here, by the way. Skinner was invited to his friend's house at Union Terrace, and there he noticed a very pretty serving maid, and she looked like she was destined for better things, and everyone, including the servants, was dancing to his fiddle tunes. And he noticed this lassie and said she's got a splendid tripper of the light fantastic toe. And then she introduced herself as Williamina or Mina Bell, and he says, what are you doing as a maid? And he says, well, my father went bankrupt because he was a farmer of Cockley, and he was guarantor for somebody's loan and lost the farm. So she was kind of tearful about that, and Skinner said, never mind, lassie, I'll make a tune that'll keep you in mind when we're both dead. So this is what my dad has played for us on a fiddle he made himself. So this is the Bonnie Lass of Bon Accord.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Jock. Anyone who's ever been to any of our parties around here knows that there's no a party here without Jock's tunes, so I'm glad we could get one in there. Back to Burns from us, and this is a wee waltz set, and maybe next time we do one of these I'll get someone to teach you how to waltz, but for now you're just going to have to make it up in your own living rooms. And I'm going to look sideways and check that I've got the right things on. We don't need Mary's mic, we've got my mic, and I'll shut up and let's just play some tunes, shall we?
I got most of those chords right.
Oh dear.
Fiddled in
Oh dear. Never mind. Yeah, Stevie Tooth. Most folk don't remember Jock's Wine, and that's kind of the problem. See, I was getting distracted reading your guys' comments again when I should have been watching the music. Those of you who are real musicians won't have a trouble with this, but I kind of got lost halfway through that and thought, just take a guess, maybe we're there, and lo, we were, so it was all right in the end.
Now,
Anyway.
in my dad's defence, he always says people complain about his wine after they've had the beer and the whiskey and the gin, and then they start on his moonshine and end up blind in a bus shelter. And to be fair, it's not all him.
No, but the problem is it's actually quite drinkable, so you don't have a wine glass full of it, you accidentally have a pint or so. And then next morning you think, oh, what was I doing last night? Anyway, enough of this
He
nonsense.
says, Mary, where are your kidneys again? It's like, yeah, there and there. Yeah, aye. Oops.
Right, let's do something that doesn't involve
Okay,
wine.
so this
Let's
is
do this.
some of you know I speak, or I'm trying to speak Gaelic. I've been learning for about 20 odd years. I'm in Cumbernauld Gaelic Choir, and
Hands up the choir members, put out that on Facebook. Come on.
I went up to Skye a couple of times and to Solmorostig and learned lots of Gaelic walking songs and beautiful, really old songs in Gaelic from Christine Primrose, and it was absolutely amazing. And this is one that we covered on the course, but I actually heard the first time from Capper Cayley, and it's called Coisig Ruin, and it's a couple of hundred years old, maybe 400, maybe more than that, and it was written in the days before texting. So this woman has said to somebody, go and take a message to Harris for me, and the guy's like, okay, well, who's the guy? So it's John Campbell. Who's John Campbell? He's the guy. He's got brown hair. Okay, give me more information. He hunts swans and geese and deer and seals and trout and everything. He's like, oh, I can who you mean. Okay, well, tell him if the McNeils, because the Campbells and the McNeils about the 1500s were kind of allied, and they had a lot of power up the west coast. So if they went to war, McNeils went to war, the Campbells had to go with them, that kind of thing. So he said, well, if you have to go to the sea, nobody will take your rudder from you. I think you're bra. So that's kind of what I think this song's about. There's about 56 verses though, because it's a walking song. And in the olden days, these old women would be battering their tweed to waterproof it in pee, and it would take a long time. So the faster the walking song, the better battered the cloth was. That's another story. You don't need to hear me talking literal pish. So so this is called Coisig Ruin. So
We don't have any women battering cloth in pee in the background, but if you can imagine John Ashton on Boran and Richard not hitting a box, we'll be right.
okay. Coisig Ruin, Huiliaro, Gundo Yalarum Ohivo, Bersarivoam, Huiliaro, Ganeheru, Bahorenyo. Bersarivoam, Huiliaro, Ganeheru, Ohivo, Gushon Kaimel, Huiliaro, Dalmoyanen, Bahorenyo. Gushon Kaimel, Huiliaro,
Yes, I got halfway through the first verse and realised, oh, I do backing vocals. Quick, I'd better turn my microphone on. Oh, I need a technician. I also need another drink, and I've run out of whiskey. And when you're talking about whiskey, you have to talk about Alistair Turnbull. So here he is again.
Address to a Haggis. Probably one of Burns's best known and most recited poems ever. You've probably heard it at a Burns supper, at which it's a staple part of the event, or at a friend's party. We've probably heard it 100 times over. But how many of us actually know what's being said in the poem? The language is old and difficult to understand. So I'd like to do you a favour, right here and right now. I'd like to teach you a bit more about Te Haggis, give you a few facts that you can startle your friends with. The first one, it was written in 1786 by Robert Burns. Some scholars say it was written just after he arrived in Edinburgh and he was getting introduced to high society and good parties. Those scholars say that the first time it was recited was at a house of his friend called Andrew Bruce. Other scholars say that Burns wrote it just before he got to Edinburgh, and it was first recited in a town called Mauchline, at a guy called John Morrison's house. John Morrison was a cabinet maker and a good friend of Burns. In fact, those scholars actually say that Burns made up the last verse of Te Haggis in John's house while he was just saying the grace. We'll never know that for sure, but one thing we do know for sure is it was first published on the 19th of December 1786 in a newspaper called the Caledonian Mercury. And it was actually the first poem that Burns ever had published in a newspaper. He published his book before then, but this is the first one in a newspaper. I'd also like to read a different version of Te Haggis. I want to use more modern words so you can understand what's being said in the poem. It sort of fits in with the theme of 2020 and 2021 when we're doing things differently. Maybe we're not doing them by choice, but we're doing them differently. So I'd like you to take this chance to learn a bit more about it. I'll read it with a modern tongue, you'll understand more, and maybe the next time you hear it in the original tongue, you'll understand a bit more about the poem. So here goes. Address to a Haggis, modern version. Good luck to you and your honest, plump face, great chieftain of the sausage race. Above them all ye tak your place, stomach, tripe, or intestines. Well are you worthy o' a grace, as lang as my arum. The groaning platter, there you fill, your buttocks like a distant hill, your pin would help to mend a mill, in time o' need. While through your pores the dews distill, like amber bead. His knife, see rustic labour wipe, and cut ye up wi' ready sleight, trenching your gushing entrails bright, like ony ditch. And then, oh what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich. Then, spoon for spoon, they stretch and strive, devil take the hindmost, on they drive, till all their well-swollen bellies by and by are bent like drums, and the old head of the table most likely to burst. The grace, he hums, is there that o'er his French ragout, or olio that would sicken a sow, or fricassee would make her vomit with perfect disgust, looks down with sneering scornful view on such a dinner. Poor devil, see him over his trash, as feeble as a withered rash, his thin legs a good whiplash, his fist a nut, through bloody field or flood to dash. Ah, how unfit! But mark, the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, held in his ample fist A blade, he'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will be cut off, like the tops of thistles. Ye powers, who make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill o' fare, old Scotland wants no watery food that splashes in wooden bowls. But if you wish to give her a grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. In other words, haggis is the best. And it was the best. Even in Burns's day, it was not an everyday dish. It was actually a treat, because many people couldn't afford to have meat on the table. And I'll briefly tell you what it's made of. It's just made of a thing called pluck, with some oats and stuff. Pluck is all the bits of the animal you don't usually eat. We'll leave it there. Anyway, until next time, enjoy your Burns night and Slanjava.
Slanjava, Ali, thank you very much. I've had time to fill my glass up. I also had time to think of what I was going to say next, and then completely forgot all about it. So, what are we doing next? Yes, this next set you'll recognise from Kaylee's, those of you that have been at Kaylee's, which, looking at the comments list there, I think is everybody. If you haven't been at O'Kaylee, tough. You're going to have to wait a while, I think. The first tune is very, very familiar. The second two, My Love She's But a Lassie Yet, and There Was a Lad Born in Kyle, are both Burns tunes, just because it's a kind of a Burnsy kind of night. Check again, microphone on, guitar, fiddle, microphone can go off, and we can play some tunes. You see her glaring at me. That was the glare that meant, get yourself a drummer. I'm sorry, I get excited and play fast. It's not like I'm a professional.
I'm going to take this off you now. I'm going to have to take this off you now. We'll get something else.
Okay.
We're sounding about as rehearsed as Pioneer Women now.
Rehearsed? We don't do rehearsed.
We actually do.
We rehearsed a couple of years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, what the fuck? What's this?
I don't know, I haven't been using it. Right, change of weapons.
Right. Okay, so I better go now.
Yes,
Give me
James.
that. I want
No,
this.
you want
I
my
want
stomping
this.
box.
I want this.
You want that. I want that. This has all got confusing.
Right, okay.
Right, where are we?
Here we go.
James Bates, yes, I do remember. So I literally remember swinging from the rafters at the Caledonian Brewery, Cayley. I think it was you that lifted me up there, in fact. Right, hang on, is this working? If I do that
So,
and that,
are you going to shut up so I can talk?
once I've got the technical bit sorted, yes.
All right. Okay.
Good, right, okay, you can talk now.
Right. So at the end of the year and the end of every Cayley wedding, people sing Auld Lang Syne. They don't sing Auld Lang Syne, because if you say Syne, it really rips my knitting. Hey, Michael.
Aye.
So, Auld Lang Syne is a poem written by Burns in 1788. And when I was at uni, I studied the oral tradition, which isn't as dirty as it sounds. And it was about how people, until about 1845, I think, in Scotland, going to school became compulsory, and people generally couldn't read and write. So the way they passed on things was by sitting by the fire, talking, singing, that kind of thing. So poems tended to survive, and the meanings of the poems survived, but the tunes quite often changed. So this is a slightly different tune for Auld Lang Syne, and it's a slightly older one than the one we know, and it's been sung by people like Mary Campbell, Eddie Reader, Karen Matheson, and my friend Amy Lord, who's from the Lilton Lassies singing group. And this is my more preferred version of Auld Lang Syne. So, and Mike's letting me play the guitar.
Quick, adjust the sound desk.
It's not too late to punch you in the face. Right, okay. Serious face. You ready? Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my Jo, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. And surely you'll be your pound stoop, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my Jo, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. We twine about the braes and put the gowns fine, and we've wandered mony's a weary fit sin Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my Jo, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. We twa paddled in the burn frae morning sun till dine, but the Swedes between us brought he roared sin Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my Jo, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for Auld Lang Syne. trusty fear, and gies a hand o' thine, and we'll tak a good willy walk for Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my Joe, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll tak a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh.
Right, we're just about coming to the end. I'm going to put this big thing back down and pick up the one that I can play better. I'm talking about the guitar now. Right, where are we? Mary's mic's on, my mic's on, the guitar's on. Good to go. So, I'd like to thank everyone that's been involved in this. Alistair Turnbull, you're a flipping star, and an informative star at that. And one day, very soon, we shall sit 2 metres apart and drink whiskey in the cold, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully March at the very latest. I'd like to dedicate this entire night to Ailey Scurfield, who stayed in bed the whole time, which is a blooming miracle.
I know.
And to Calendar Rural Broadband, which just about held up, although we're actually streaming this show off my phone's Wi-Fi hotspot because the broadband wasn't quite good enough tonight. So we've only got a few tunes left. Jock Mackay, let's not forget Jock Mackay. He did a tune as well, and we want more of those. So if we ever do this again, Jock, you're up. You're doing more. You're not getting away with it now. I know you didn't enjoy it, but yeah, we're having more of you.
This is a daft wee tune that actually some people do sing at the end of a night, and I told Mike what this actually meant. So if you do vocabulary in Gaelic, Doris is a door and a drink is a joch, and here we go.
There's a good old Scottish custom that has stood the test of time. It's a custom that's been carried out in every land and clime, where brother Scots are gathered. It's aye the usual thing, well, just before we say goodnight, we fill our cups and sing. Just a wee jock and Doris, just a wee drop, that's all. Just a wee jock and Doris, afore you gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting at a wee button bed. If you can say it's a broad-brick like neck, then you're alright, you can. Now I like a man that is a man that's straight and fair, the kind of man that will and can in all things do his share. Oh, I like a man, a jolly man, the kind of man, you know, the chap that slaps your back and says, here, Jock, afore you go. Just a wee Jock and Doris, just a wee drop, that's all. Just a wee Jock and Doris, afore you gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button bed. If you can say it's a broad-brick moonlight neck, then you're alright, you can. Just a wee Jock and Doris, just a wee drop, that's all. Just a wee Jock and Doris, afore you gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button bed. If you can say it's a broad-brick moonlight night, then you're alright, you can. If you can say it's a broad-brick moonlight night, then you're alright, you can. Oh, it's ridiculous. I like to finish the set that way. So, thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to have to go back and read. Oh, Ali, we'll have to stop. We've run out of things that we had prepared. We could go on to all the things that we don't have prepared. But, Ali, I'll have to say, we were, as a lot of you know, we were going to do this for Hogmanay, and we asked a few folk to submit tunes to play in. One of the few that managed it before we called the whole thing off was Alistair and his family. And they did something. It's a bit Christmassy the way they framed it, but it's too good not to play. So to play us out tonight, please, the Turnbull family.
I have a hula, didn't you?
Hello. This is Amy MacDonald, I believe. What's the song?
This is the light?
This is A Life by Amy MacDonald.
Oh, the wind whistles down the cold dark streets tonight, and happy people they were dancing to the music by the boys chasing girls with the curls in their hair, and they try to mix in way over there, and the songs get louder, each one better than before. And you're singing the song, singing this is the life. When you wake up in the morning and your head touches the sides, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is the life. When you wake up in the morning and your head touches the sides, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? Where you gonna sleep tonight? So you're heading down the road and you're texting before, and you're waiting outside Jimmy's front door, and nobody's in and nobody's home till 4. So you're sitting in there with a coffee mix, you're talking about all the right against Motley Crue, and where you gotta go, where you gotta sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is a life. When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gotta go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is a life. When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? Where you gonna sleep tonight?
You do it, Anna, come on. And Rachel. And me.
When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is a life. When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is a life. When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight? And you're singing the song, singing this is a life. When you wake up in the morning and your head feels exercise, where you gonna go, where you gonna go, where you gonna sleep tonight?
Now one more time.
And you're singing the song, singing this is a life.
Happy New Year when it comes.
Backseat lover was hiding neath the covers till I talked to your daddy. Said you ain't seen nothing till you're down on a muffin, and you should be a changing your ways. I met a cheerleader with a real young bleeder, and at times I could reminisce. Cause the best thing loving with a sister and a cousin only started with a little kiss like this. Seesaw swinging with the boys in the school, and your feet flying up in the air, singing hey diddle diddle with the kitty in the middle. You've been swinging like you just don't care. So I took a big chance at the high school dance with a missy who was ready to play. Wanted to be, she was foolish cause she knew what she was doing, and she told me just to walk this way. She told me to walk this way, talk this way, walk this way, talk this way, walk this way, talk this way. Just give me a kiss like this. Schoolgirl sleazy with with a classy kind of sassy little skirt riding way up her knee. And there were 3 young ladies at the school gym locker, and I noticed they were looking at me. I was a high school loser, never made it with a lady till the boys told me something I missed. And then my next door neighbor had a daughter with a favor, and she gave me just a little kiss like this. Seesaw swinging with the boys in the school, and your feet flying up in the air, singing hey diddle diddle with the kitty in the middle. You be swinging like you just don't care. So I took a big chance at the high school dance with a missy who was ready to play. Wanted me, she was fooling cause she knew what she was doing, and she told me just to walk this way. She told me to walk this way.